Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about the Sony PlayStation. This very popular video game console has been getting woke repeatedly this year and throughout its short history. We're talking about the PlayStation 4 right now, and the PlayStation 5, it's on its way. But this year, a couple of things have happened that have shown us that Sony and its PlayStation are really trying to get woke, trying to pander to leftists, and trying to get in on this whole trend of companies virtue signaling and trying to show that they're down with these causes, usually as a way to get them more sales. They don't really care about these causes. Actually, corporations aren't people, even though they can be treated like that under the law. Really, these are just money makers. They think that this will get them paid more. And that's what's been going on a number of times this year. Most recently, the biggest example from PlayStation was earlier this year when they had their exclusive game come out called The Last of Us Part 2. That was a real woke nightmare. It turned into a total mess. It ruined a franchise that was once really good. It started in 2013 with the first part, and it was pretty much free from this woke stuff. That was before this new era of all media getting super left wing, and that's what happened with that game. We've discussed it ad nauseum, so I'm going to move past that and talk about the news story. This is coming from PlayStation. This is an article from CBR. It says, why PlayStation's free Black Lives Matter theme is important. Sony just released a free Black Lives Matters theme for the PS4. It's a good move for multiple reasons. I highly disagree with that. You can see the power fist. This is a little preview of what the theme is going to look like. And essentially, this is a two-parter today. This is the first big one. They released this BLM theme at a strange time, too. I mean, this stuff is kind of dying down. The whole BLM trend was this summer. That's kind of died down. We're not really talking about that anymore. Thank God. I was sick of hearing about it for so many months, so many demonstrations, so many people hurt in the streets, people losing their jobs, them destroying businesses and all that violent stuff. So it's kind of strange to see a video game put that on as a free theme for their new system, for their current system. I mean, this is a group that hurt many people. Dozens have died. They've destroyed property. They've made this whole country chaotic. They've race baited and done all these bad things, but PlayStation supported them. They're putting out this theme. A theme, by the way, for those who don't know, when you turn on your video game console, there's a little menu screen. You can scroll through some apps and some other stuff in addition to picking which game you want to play. That's called a theme. You could change the background and the sound scheme and the colors on your menu, stuff like that. It's just a little perk, a little feature on these new consoles. They always have these menus, and the theme is cool. I mean, I've gotten different themes before. I like the whole menu system, but to come out with the Black Lives Matter one is just silly. I mean, it's not something that's going to get me all triggered or anything. I'm just making the video to tell you guys that Sony's doing this once again. They failed repeatedly with this woke stuff. Last of Us Part 2 was the big example we just went over. We talked about when it came out. That was just the beginning. Now we're getting this new theme that is supposedly important, but I'm not really buying it. Sony has released a Black Lives Matter theme for the PlayStation 4, like the recent Last of Us theme. It's a free download on the PlayStation Store app and Sony's official website. It's a good move on PlayStation's part, although it's also been divisive, which says more about certain gamers than Sony or this new theme. It's good to see PlayStation continuing to offer support for the BLM movement. In June, Sony postponed its PS5 showcase event due to protest over George Floyd's death. The company acknowledged that it was the wrong time to hype its next-gen games. Around the same time, Sony and many other companies issued a statement supporting BLM and denouncing systemic racism. Systemic racism. I mean, whatever that means. That's just some made-up buzzword that they come up with, acting like everything's racist in the whole world when it's really not. They just blame everything they don't like on racism. You didn't get a good job. They say the world's racist. They thought that their order at McDonald's was wrong. It came out with cold fries. That's because of racism. These guys blame everything on racism. They basically have diluted the word to mean almost nothing. And yeah, the other thing is PlayStation pulling this move. It's not important. It's not noble. They're just going along with every other corporation trying to get woke and push this BLM crap to pander to minorities and the leftists who control a lot of the mainstream and the media and big tech and stuff like that. So it's a big kowtow move. It's not brave. It's not important. It's not cool at all. It's not edgy or punk rock either. It's just part of the system. And it's supporting a bad cause that's hurt many people. Sure, that death was tragic. We don't want people to die, but you also don't want people to resist arrest and fight cops and do drugs and spend fake dollar bills. You know, there's a lot of things that the person did to lead up to this moment, and they're really ignoring that. The other thing worth mentioning is how they mention this. They say, which says more more about certain gamers than Sony. This is the whole meme that, oh, a lot of gamers are racist. They're 40s Germans. We're these bad people who hate everyone. It's not true. This is not true. They call everyone racist. They act like people that don't kowtow to these causes are offensive when we're not. You don't have to jump in on every cause, even if you agree with it or don't agree with it or don't care. They're just using political pressure. They're using peer pressure, and they're using these scare tactics like saying, oh, if you don't go along with us, we're going to call you racist. Are you sure you want to be called a racist? Are you sure you don't want to be exposed to your neighbors and friends and family? It's super messed up, super cringe. And yeah, it's just a bad sign. Here's more pictures of the theme. It's not really the most interesting one. It says BLM. It has black and yellow. I mean, it doesn't look bad necessarily. I've just seen a lot better themes. I've seen more interesting ones. The article goes on, so let's see if we have any more details. The fact that the theme is free is also encouraging as it allows more users to gain access to it. However, a paid theme with profits going to bail funds or other mutual aid efforts would be even more beneficial. Alternately, Sony could make the theme pay what you can, which would offer users a choice. Previously, Sony has offered Pride Month themes and other cause-related downloads. So now they want to charge for a free theme so they can bail out criminals. Bail funds. Why would you need bail funds for your group? I mean, think about it. These people are breaking the law. They're going into the streets. They're destroying stuff. And then they want to get bailed out for it. And then sometimes they do. Sometimes celebrities bail them out. Kamala Harris was a famous politician who was raising money to bail out these criminals. Now she's the VP candidate. I mean, look at you. Look at this world. Look what we've become. Look at this crazy stuff. I can't believe this article is acting like this. It's totally insane. The timing behind Sony releasing its BLM PS4 theme also makes sense, given the main character of one of its biggest games of the holiday season, Spider-Man Miles Morales, will be released in November as a PS5 launch title. It's Morales' first headlining role in a video game after supporting playable appearances in Marvel's Spider-Man and Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. So they're saying this Miles Morales character is special because he's a minority. It doesn't have anything to do with who he is, what he does, what he brings to the table, his personality traits, his family, his friends. No, it's just because he's black, so they support it. Miles Morales is a big step forward for representation in pop culture at large and video games in particular. As the sequel to Insomniac's wildly popular Spider-Man, it will also be a huge seller on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. Sony will profit in some part from Miles' status as a popular Afro-Latinx hero. Giving players a chance to show solidarity with Black Lives Matter is a good way of honoring that, especially considering the appearance of Miles' cosplayer at protests in New York City. So they're really woken it up here. They're even using the term Latinx, which is a term that Latin people don't even use. That's just absurd. It's just this kind of made up thing that they try to virtue signal about. The other thing is, from what I heard, this game wasn't actually a sequel. It's a standalone expansion. I mean, you could call it whichever you want. I don't know. That might be nitpicking, but they're basically just remaking the game. The original Spider-Man game came out in 2018, and this is a remake with a black main character, which is basically what Miles Morales is too. I mean, it's just a black version of Spider-Man. It's not the most genius, groundbreaking thing. I'm fine with it being a minority. I know they want their representation. That's all gravy, but they need to dial it back a little bit and realize this is just a shadow, a copy, a clone of Spider-Man. It's not much more than that. It's not super woke or saving the world either. And this whole BLM theme going along with it, I don't really see the connection that much. I guess a little bit, but what I do see is, and this is mentioned in the beginning of this paragraph, I see it as Sony trying to profit off this stuff. They're trying to profit off of BLM. They're trying to profit off of using a black character, replacing Spider-Man, blackwashing him essentially, and giving us this supposedly new sequel game that's just really the same game, but with a character's skin color change. The negative responses to Sony's announcement tweet could be boiled down to two categories. One was the popular refrain that politics should never mix with gaming. The other was that Sony had alienated customers who would now back Microsoft in the next round of console wars, although Microsoft has been vocal about its support for BLM. Regardless, the positive response far outweighed the negative, which is good. Citation needed. I'm really highly doubting anyone cares. People are not excited about this except for these woke article writers. It's always worth remembering that corporations aren't your friend. Downloading a wallpaper for PS4 isn't a substitute for activism and allyship. allyship. That said, it's certainly good that players have the opportunity to show their support for BLM in the same way that could display their favorite NFL team or Vocaloid. Okay, this is silly. The theme isn't going to be seen by anyone. It's just a background you put on your own PlayStation. I don't know how that's going to signal you're supporting a cause when really typically people just look at their own PlayStations. They don't have, I mean, maybe you have a few friends over or something, but that's hardly significant. It's not like you're posting it publicly or something. And that brings us to the next story. This is a bit different, but this is coming from Sony too. This is another bad sign for Sony recently. We're moving past the BLM woke stuff and we're going to support it in China. This is like a note from Sony from their service agreement. It says, you may not use your account or PSN in any way to create, reproduce, publish, or disseminate any information which opposes the basic principles in the Constitution of the People's Republic of China, endangers the security of the PRC, and divulges PRC state secrets, or jeopardizes the sovereignty and unification of the PRC, damages the honor and interest of the PRC, violates PRC policies on religion, or propagates heresies or superstition, disseminates rumors and disrupts social order or undermines social stability, disseminates obscenity, gambling, violence, or instigates others to commit crime, is prohibited by PRC laws, administration regulations, and other provisions. So this is a big pro-China move for this group. This is coming from Sony. This is their rules. They're basically kowtowing to China now. Another very left-wing move of them. First, it's the woke stuff. First, it's the BLM, the pro-black stuff, the anti-white stuff. And now they're just kind of kowtowing to China, basically saying, if you say anything bad about China, we're going to take away your account. We're going to delete you. We're going to support this bad nation who they kind of represent wrong. They act like they have principles and their constitution and they're honorable and all this stuff. It's like, no, China is an evil country who basically is authoritarian, rules their people with an iron fist, locks up reporters, hides things on the internet from their people. Tiananmen Square. I mean, give me a break. Mao. China is not a place you should be supporting, and you should certainly not be supporting them over great countries like America. That about wraps things up. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you on the next video. Have a good one.